you're not going to always use your credit card. I was in like a really, really nice restaurant in Baku a couple years ago in Azerbaijan, and they didn't take credit card. And I was shocked. And so you had to get the money out of the ATM. Hello and welcome to Darren's Travels. Today I'm going to talk about how to deal with money when you're traveling overseas by yourself. And I think I mentioned once before about getting money here, the foreign money here in America before you go overseas, and you don't need to do that. You don't need to get euros or British pounds or anything like that here in America before you go over there. You can get it all when you get there, and then you get that from the ATM essentially. And what I do is when I'm overseas, I always go to the ATM to get the cash out that I want, because if you get money from the currency exchange at the airport or any type of like big currency exchange shop, the rate is going to be worse for you than if you were to get it from the ATM at the mall, or even I guess a grocery store somewhere in the city, because that's the ATM that the locals use. And so the exchange rate is going to be fair and it's going to be the same. I mentioned in the video about getting out of the airport how you have to get a little bit of cash just for maybe the taxis from the ATM at the airport. Again, the rates aren't going to be good, but like I said, do it just have a little bit of cash. And when I say the exchange rate, and again, I'm no Forex trader or anything like that, but the exchange rate, there's going to be like a real exchange rate, say, I don't know, $1 to $1.10 from the American dollar to the euro, something like that. So say the dollar is 10% weaker, or 10 cents weaker or whatever. But what I mean by the fair rate is that when you go to those currency exchange stores or any other place that's going to kind of rip you off, they're not going to give you that 10% spread. They're going to charge you another 4% or another 5% on top of the dollar rate. Whereas if you were to go to the ATM at the grocery store with the locals, then it's just going to be that 10% spread. And so that's what I mean by being treated fairly when you're exchanging money overseas. So that's the way to do it, just to make sure you're getting a fair rate. And I mentioned that before when I talked about getting money from or when you're paying for something at the restaurants with a credit card reader. Same thing. Make sure you run your credit card in the local currency, not USD, not American dollars, because again, it's going to give you the exchange rate, but then it's going to add on fees on top of that, and it's going to cost you a lot more to do it in USD. And so that's what I talk about when I say getting a fair exchange rate from for your money. Most of the time when you travel here in 2024, you're going to be using your credit card. Now, 10 years ago, if I would have made this video, I would have said you're always using your credit card. But over the years, I've noticed that a lot of places, kind of surprising places too, won't accept credit cards and they only accept cash. And so, you're not going to always use your credit card. I was in like a really, really nice restaurant in Baku a couple years ago in Azerbaijan, and they didn't take credit card. And I was shocked. And so, you had to get the money out of the ATM. But most of the time you're going to be using a credit card when you go overseas. So keep that in mind. Also do take make sure when you're over there, you get a little bit of like small cash or whatever, because you're going to be going to you're buying souvenirs, you're going to the farmer's market, and in those places, most of them do have like credit card machines and all that, but it's probably easier just to take, the local currency cash, and pay for those little things, when you're overseas. And so that's how you kind of deal with money overseas. Another thing I'll mention, and I have this in the video about the quirks of Europe, but one of the things that's kind of funny is at least when you're Central and Eastern Europe anyway, is that they don't like to give you change they don't like to give you a lot of change for anything. And so if you buy something that costs $20 and you give or if it costs $12 and you give them $20, they'll look at you like you're crazy. They'll ask you if you have smaller bills, whatever. Maybe if it costs, $17, $18, and you give them 20, they might be okay with that. But again, they just don't like giving change when you're overseas. And so keep that in mind when you're dealing with, the cash and the credit card and all that. And finally, I'll emphasize and I'll repeat what I said. When you're at an ATM or when they bring you the credit card reader when you're at the restaurants, when they ask you if you want to run your card in the local currency or in USD, United States dollars, whatever, always say the local currency. That's going to be a fair rate of exchange. So hope that helps. And in this next video, I'll put up here is that talking about the English levels when you're overseas. No matter where you are, the ATM you'll have a chance to switch it in English. No matter where you are, any type of credit card reader, all those things, bus kiosks, is everything where you're trying to do stuff out of. There'll be an option to switch it in English, so you'll know basically what it says. So hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.